Listen up. This is an important video that you guys need to watch. This is important because this is really going on right now in Chicago and across our great nation. And with the elections coming up here in November, we are looking at some strange things that could be happening.
This is happening. Pastor Laura, you were out at the polling places yesterday for the Heritage Foundation. Talk to us a little bit about what you found.
Well, what we did was we went out with a team. We went to the north side, the west side, south side, stopped in different polling places. And there were so many violations. We witnessed at 6 o'clock in the morning that it's a Democratic judge that's acting as a Republican judge just for the day. We also witnessed ballots not being out accessible to Republicans. And when we questioned about it, they said, well, you have to ask for it. There were so many other things, like the machines were breaking down, printers were bad. They was calling technicians in the middle of the day to fix the machines. The ballots we got a lady that was trying to put her ballot through. They told her that the machine was broke.
This is David L. Lowery Jr. It says that he's a co-pastor at Fernwood Community Outreach Church in Chicago, where civil rights legend Reverend Dr. Albert Al Sampson is lead pastor. He is also an outreach pastor at Universal Baptist Church in Harvey, Illinois, and was a national crisis director for the National Action Network.
Risen, we deserve a livable wage coming from each corporation, but corporations don't want to pay the American people righteously. So they want to bring in and usher in illegal immigrants to replace American people on these job sites. You could get cheap labor out of them. They will work for pretty much anything coming from the countries that they come from.
I've been saying this for quite some time now, that the whole purpose of bringing people from other countries is to replace you. It's to replace the black voter. It's to replace people in the African American communities that have woken up to the injustice and to realize that both parties have not worked on their behalf and no one is coming to save you. And what they're finding out now is that soon the black vote will not matter as much. And I saw somebody else also say this. It was a African American gentleman, and he was talking about how they never counted or relied on your vote anyway. And that's why they never did anything for your community. And he's talking about us, African people who have African descent. And he was saying they don't really, African Americans in general just do not come out and vote as much as other communities or other races. So they've never relied heavily on your vote, but in certain districts and certain states, they do. That's why they pander to you it's like when they're campaigning, but then after that, they disappear from your neighborhood and they don't do anything to change anything. So everything that they've campaigned on are usually false promises. Pastor Lowery is not the first of anybody in the African American community to say this. There are a lot of people saying this online. It's just, there's people that just refuse to listen. They still vote blue no matter who, or they vote red and end up. So my point is, I want you to pay attention to what he's saying here.
Continue to disrespect the black community by just actually pushing us down a notch and saying, okay, well, we're going to bring all these illegals in, and they have not even put one penny into our tax base. They're getting all sorts of medical services. They're getting housing vouchers immediately just to say, I'm from not hit this country. And the American citizens who are down on their luck are homeless across the country and all the major cities, especially in the black community. You're talking about 73% of the homeless people here in Chicago are black.
If you think this old white man is coming to save your communities, you are sadly mistaken. I will never forget Biden saying, you are not black if you don't vote for me. So most naturally, after doing this video and giving my opinion, I wanted to go and check out some data sets that were provided by Pew Research on key facts about black eligible voters in 2024. I will link the article below for you. But let me tell you what the text really talks about. I just read it and I'm giving it in my own terms here. It talks about basically 34.4 million of the population being black people that can vote in the US in the 2024 election. And in the last election, most blacks voted for a Democratic candidate, which I hope we will turn the tide and stop voting Democrat every time, because we believe that they will do something for us, especially people that's all they do. They don't research anything. They're not informed. They literally just vote blue no matter who. And me being an independent, being somebody who was a foreigner at one point and came to this country, I could speak to this other point that they mention in the article. They say black voters vote more than Latino and Asian voters. Now, in my video, I clearly said that they don't count or rely on your vote. And they're saying here at the Pew Research that, oh, black voters vote more. Let me express why that is. When I first came to this country, I could not vote. Asians as well, when they come here, you must wait to vote. So most naturally, the demographic is going to show that more black voters are voting than Latino and Asian people that are currently in the country. They don't specify that, they just say it that way. They do that to give you the impression that you're voting more than other demographics, so your vote counts. Trust me, when Latino and people from other countries get the opportunity to vote, they vote. They said that the percentage of black people who can vote usually are younger and less educated compared to all voters in the United States. You know, just think about what they're saying there. And then they talk about the states that black voters are usually predominantly in, which are like Texas and Georgia, and states in the South have a lot of black voters. And just all you need to do is look at what it looks like in the South. Look at the communities in the South. Are they thriving? Ask yourself those questions, right? So I'm going to go along with what the pastor says, and to note that we're going to have to start mandating these polls come election season. Pull out a lawn chair, hang out, be watchful of what's going on, because this is a key election, and we're in a state of despair as it is already, when we are only given two options really, and the third being RFK. How much people can actually go and vote RFK? I don't know what to say. Just think for yourself.